What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. We're here breaking down this Thursday Night Football showdown slate for DraftKings and FanDuel. NFL season is kicking off with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Detroit Lions in what should be an amazing game. 54.5 point over-under, which is the highest on the entire Week 1 board. And in this video, we're pretty much going position by position, breaking it down team by team. And we're going to put a lineup at the end and then run the optimizer to see who is popping the most as of right now. And also keep in mind, this video is being recorded on Monday morning, so if there's any news that breaks, just make sure you adjust for that. And also, if this is your first time here, my name is Chris Pinnell. I'm here to break down NFL DFS each and every single week, every single day, whatever it may be on this channel. And if that's something you enjoy, consider leaving a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to be mean to me in the comments, I totally get it. Leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, you will start with the quarterback position. And keep in mind, if you ever do want access to the stuff that I do show you on the screen, you can get it completely free for a week because Patreon does offer free week trials. You can find that down below in the description or the pinned comment. But I have projections, ownership projections, the whole slate statted out, and all the data you'd ever need, color coded nice and neat, so it's quite easy to follow. But anyway, let's start off with the two QBs here. We have Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff. We'll start with Mahomes, the NFL MVP, 12-2 on DK, 18,000 on FanDuel. Keep in mind, DraftKings will 1.5x the salary in the captain spot. FanDuel does not, so it's usually just easier to throw in your favorite guy over on FanDuel because you are not getting penalized for it, and you're still getting that 1.5x point bonus. I guess that's what you want to call it. But the question here is not if we want to play Patrick Mahomes. You are playing Patrick Mahomes. I will probably have 100% on the slate. The question is, how much do we want to put him in the captain spot? Because usually on DraftKings, I like to go with a pass catcher, running back, or whatever it may be in the captain spot, or I guess tight end on this slate. It's totally fine when you have Travis Kelce and even Sam Laporta if you want to get a little bit different. But I am totally fine with him in the captain spot, especially if you're playing cash games, because he is certainly the safest option. Now, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but obviously the floor is super safe here. The ceiling is extremely high, and it's hard to find a better game than KC and Detroit. Both these offenses can put up a lot of points, and the defenses can certainly struggle at times. So this is just like a perfect recipe for an offensive explosion. And if you look at the numbers last year, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, pretty good at football in Detroit, gave the most points per game to the quarterback position. So I always hate to look at the matchups based off of last year because obviously things can change, but I can't imagine the Kansas City Chiefs offense is going to struggle here with Detroit. So look on Patrick Mahomes. As far as the captain spot is concerned, I'm thinking probably anywhere from 15-30% is probably a good spot. He'll probably come in around 25-ish, maybe 30% in the captain spot. So you'll have to try to figure out if you're going to be lower owned on that or over owned or kind of even to the field. But as of right now, I am just fine with Patrick Mahomes in all facets. Just kind of depends on what you want to do with your wide receivers and tight ends because he gets very pricey, but he will be in every single lineup that I make. And then Jared Goff here, obviously not quite as exciting to talk about as Patrick Mahomes, but you do get a bit of a discount here, $3,000 off. Now, he does have the lower implied team total, touchdown less. I mean, the Chiefs have nearly a 31. Detroit's still healthy at 24, but I mean, definitely you can't expect the same kind of point projection, but Jared Goff was not bad last year, and this is not a bad offense whatsoever. Unfortunately, no Jameson Williams. I guess he likes to gamble. He's one of us. Cue the gif. But 260 passing yards last year, nearly 2 passing touchdowns, threw the ball around 31 times per game, and this is a plus matchup versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And I would be very shocked if they are not trailing in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I'm certainly sure that they are going to have to throw the ball quite a bit. And you still have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta to work with, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, and then Marvin Jones, which I realize aren't the most exciting group in the world, but there's definitely weapons to be had here. And the new shiny toy Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, I guess, who's going to be used all over the field, which will be fun. So I am fine with Jared Goff. I don't think I really like him in the captain spot too much just because if Jared Goff goes off, that means that one of his pass catchers had to have as well. So I'd rather get exposure to them in the captain spot instead than throw Goff in the flex spot. Because if Goff has a great game, that means someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown had to go off, and I'd rather have him in the captain spot rather than Jared Goff, if that makes sense. And just taking a quick look at how I have this statted out, I think I have Patrick Mahomes for just under 24 points, which is going to be the highest projection on the entire slate. So obviously, optimizers are going to jam him in. While Jared Goff is not as high, keep in mind he has 3K less, so value-wise, he's not too far off, and is still a respectable play. Nearly 260 passing yards and close to 2 passing touchdowns. But the one thing I did want to mention here is that yes, my sponsors are Prize Picks and Underdog, but over on Underdog, they have an amazing promo for this game with Patrick Mahomes at 0.5 passing yards. It's obviously an easy money over. And if you are a new user on that site and you do sign up using the link down below in the description or the pinned comment, use promo code CPEN for a deposit match bonus up to $100. And if you are a new user, they're also running another promo where you get a special pick'em bonus thing, which I'm assuming is going to be like a free money thing once again. So again, check that out. You get 2 free bonuses over there. And then Prize Picks is doing pretty much the same thing with Dak Prescott at 0.5 passing yards. And moving on to the running backs, so we'll start with the Chiefs group here first, which is basically a 2-man show of Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. Now, I'm not sure how much work Clyde Edwards-Helaire could potentially get. I can't imagine it's going to be anything meaningful whatsoever. So basically just focusing on the top two here. Pacheco, he's going to be the main first and second down back, getting the bulk of the carries. Meanwhile, Jerick McKinnon, he's the guy that's going to be a threat in the passing game. At the end of last year, he was absolutely incredible, just breaking the slate almost every single week. We kept saying he can't keep scoring touchdowns, but he said, fear not, I will keep doing that. So I don't think the touchdown rate is going to keep up. I mean, he was scoring over half a touchdown per game in the second half of the year. I mean, it was like, seemed like 4 a week. But looking at the numbers last year from McKinnon, I mean, 4 targets per game, 30 receiving yards, just over 3 catches, half a touchdown, 11.5% target share. Pretty healthy numbers. Now, I kind of prefer him if it was projected to be like a super close game, but I don't really think it's going to matter either way. He should still get work, and the floor is there. So $5,600, he's totally in play. For playing Pacheco, doesn't really have any upside in the passing game, but he should get you 10 plus carries. And obviously being a 7-point favorite at home with a 31-point implied team total, I would say the chances of a touchdown happening are halfway decent at least. You can't guarantee it, but he's definitely going to have an opportunity for it, I'm sure. We just have to hope that he converts. Then as for the Lions, at least they're kind of fun to talk about because you have Jahmyr Gibbs, $8,200, their first-round draft pick, who is pretty much going to be used all over the field, maybe even a wide receiver. Should be fun to see how that works out. So he's definitely in play because of the receiving upside on a PPR site like DraftKings. FanDuel maybe not as much value because I'm not sure exactly how much bulk work he's going to get on the ground. That's going to be more so David Montgomery's job. Kind of like last year where we saw Jamal Williams be in the David Montgomery role and then Jahmyr Gibbs in the DeAndre Swift role. It's going to be somewhat similar to this season, especially since both of those running backs are now gone. So just kind of pretend that's the role that they're in, although Jahmyr Gibbs I do think is a better talent than DeAndre Swift. So both are playable, but I do think guys like Pacheco have a better chance of finding the end zone. All right, moving on to wide receiver. This is an absolute mess here. I'm just so glad that Amon-Ra St. Brown exists so I can feel comfortable. But outside of that, it is really ugly here. We'll start with the Chiefs group here first because we love Patrick Mahomes, so we're going to have to get some of his pass catchers in, but my goodness, good luck picking the right one. You have Kadarius Toney, who's banged up, but he's going to be good to go to play. How many snaps does he see? I guess that's a bit of a guessing game right now. We have MVS, who has big play upside, but sometimes I swear you just can't catch a cold. Then we have Sky Moore, Shee Rice, Richie James, Justin Ross, Justin Watson, and it's just like good luck picking between these guys. Justin Watson, I'm sure, will barely play at all. Justin Ross and Shee Rice, I read an article from the OC saying they're going to be used in certain key situations to help them succeed, but obviously don't expect them to play a lion's share of the work. Although when you're catching passes from Patrick Mahomes and it's a showdown slate, it literally only takes one play and you could be optimal, so they have to be in the player pool. Richie James is kind of like a poor man version of Sky Moore, is my imagination of him. So I think Sky Moore is probably the safest option here. Him and MVS should be the ones that get the majority of the workload, as well as Kadarius Toney. My only worry with Toney is that the guy's just a walking injury, so you might be playing well, but at some point he's probably going to do something to his knee where he has to be out. So that's the only worry there. Plus he's the most expensive. But if you're playing any of these Chiefs wide receivers, obviously the first three in price are going to be the safest options. And going down to the Detroit Lions here, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is one of the best receivers in football. I love that guy. He's just so safe. And the ceiling's high, the floor is high. Absolutely love him. If you're looking at his numbers last year, 28% target share, nearly 9 targets per game, nearly 7 catches, 72 receiving yards. Just hard not to like the guy. Now, he's not a big ADOT kind of guy, but I mean, for PPR sites like DraftKings, those points add up in a hurry. We have Marvin Jones at $6,200, Josh Reynolds at $2,800, and Khalif Raymond at $800. So if you're looking for a pump play, I don't hate him on this slate. No Jameson Williams, which I know he didn't really play much last year anyway, but with him being out, it just solidifies the top 4 wide receivers pretty much. You also have that one guy in preseason, Green, that got that really nice long touchdown, I believe, but I'm not expecting him to get really much playing time whatsoever. But if you look at the numbers last year, for the guys not named Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Jones, 5 targets per game, 15% target share. Josh Reynolds at 4 targets per game with a 14% target share. Then you have Khalif Raymond here at 36 yards per game, 3.65 targets, and 11% target share. So all very similar here. If Khalif Raymond can get me 3 targets, I will take it at $800. So if you're looking for a value play, I definitely think he doesn't look too bad. But other than that, I mean, Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, not really too much separating these guys, although we do know Marvin Jones has big play upside. But obviously, by far, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the best wide receiver on this slate. And if the Lions are indeed playing catch-up, I mean, he should just be peppered with targets. Moving on to the tight ends, obviously, far and away, we have the man, Travis Kelce on the Chiefs, and Noah Gray backing him up as well. And you also have Blake Bell, but I can't really project him for anything. But if you're playing Patrick Mahomes, you're going to want a healthy dose of Travis Kelce here, whether it be in the captain spot or the flex spot. I mean, the guy's just an absolute machine. 0.71 touchdowns per game last year, close to a 25% target share. nearly 9 targets per game, 6.5 catches, 80 receiving yards. Just one of the absolute safest plays week in, week out at any position. Then Noah Gray, I mean, if you're looking for a punt, but even then he's $2,400, and for a guy that gets 2 targets, it just doesn't really make too much sense at that price point unless he catches a random touchdown, which always seems to happen on showdown slates, so I guess you can't rule it out. They have the rookie Sam Laporta from tight end U in Iowa, $5,000. Looking at the projections here, because obviously I don't have any numbers from last season, I believe I have him right around like 34.4 receiving yards, and then 7.6 DraftKings projection, 4.5 targets, 12% target share, and 2.9 catches. So not awful. I mean, actually has the same point per dollar value as Travis Kelce, but obviously the ceiling is not going to be nearly as high. But if he gets into the end zone, you'll be happy. If not, I mean, it'll be a pretty middling day, but I think you can expect at least a handful of points there. Then Brock Wright, if you're looking for a punt, I don't think it's the absolute worst play in the world. Should get you a target, maybe. If he gets you a target and catches the pass at $600, you will take it. But, I mean, it's not really something you can bank on too much. And then everyone's favorite defenses and kickers. I don't really have much interest in the defenses here. This is a 54.5 point over-under. I can't imagine the defenses are going to do too well. If they happen to get a random defensive touchdown, I'm sorry, you struck out. It's just something stupid that happens here and there, but I am not going to play a defense banking on a defensive touchdown. And then as for the kickers, you can't really project them, but I will say Butker's in a better position to score more points considering they have the higher implied team total, which indicates that they'll be in score position more often than not. Problem is the Chiefs like to score, and they like to score touchdowns, so a lot of these could be extra points, but a field goal or two there definitely would not hurt. And both are fine, but I would have a slight preference on Harrison Butker. All right, moving over to our lineup here, just going to build something quick, and if you are stealing lineups or copying them from YouTube, you deserve to lose. That's an awful strategy. I am just building something really quick on the fly to see what fits after what we talked about. So a couple ways you can go. I'm just going to do Patrick Mahomes in the captain spot just because I'm sure that's what a lot of people want to do. So let's try to see how that would fit. Now, the problem is I would like to play Kelce, Sam Brown, and Goff. I'm definitely not going to be able to do that. But since we have Mahomes, let's plug in Kelce just to make sure we get that correlation play there. I would also like a couple more pass catchers. 1 or 2 would be totally fine. Sky Moore, I do like. He's only $4,800, I believe. Potential to be the wide receiver 1 target-wise in this game. I mean, it could be 3 guys. I have no idea. Just spin a wheel on that. But I do like the price point on Sky Moore there, $1,000 cheaper than MVS just about. And I feel like the upside's somewhat similar, although MVS does have that big play potential. Now we have around $5,000 left. I think Harrison Butker would be a decent option. Plus, nice correlation because if they're moving the ball well, that means Harrison Butker is either kicking extra points or he's in position to kick a field goal. We still have around $5,000 left. I think Khalif Raymond or Brock Wright would be halfway viable for punt plays. I'm not totally sure what's going to happen with Khalif Raymond. I know he's the punt returner, but it sounds like he's going to have a bigger role in the offense. So we'll have to see. Projections right now do like him, but obviously things can change by the time kickoff is on Thursday. So we're going to plug him in at $800 just to free up some salary. And if we do that, we have just under $10K left, which puts us in a pretty good position. Unfortunately, we cannot afford Amon-Ra St. Brown in this build. If we wanted to play him, we'd probably have to drop Travis Kelce, but I don't think that is something I want to do. So I'm going to keep Kelce in here because I have the Patrick Mahomes captain, and if I like Mahomes that much, I mean, I'm assuming Travis Kelce has to have a pretty good game. So we'll take out St. Brown. We'll plug in Jared Goff, so at least we get the Raymond Goff connection there, which I'm not sure how much of a connection it'll be, but he is cheap. But this does work. So you have Mahomes, Kelce, Sky Moore, Harrison Butker, and then you have Khalif Raymond and Jared Goff there. So not a terrible looking lineup. Again, I built that very quickly, but I do think that is something that can work, and it does follow the rules that I would like it to follow. And then we'll head over to the optimizer here to see who is popping over there. And I'm just going to run this completely raw here. No settings, no groups, no randomness, nothing like that. Although if you were actually building 150 lineups for a tournament, I would highly recommend doing that because you have to tell yourself a story and set up your correlation plays. But just going to run raw here to see what projections like as of right now. And if looking at a quick 20 build here, you have Patrick Mahomes getting yammed in the captain spot, which I get when you're the highest projected player by a couple of points. Just kind of what happens. Jared Goff, St. Brown, Raymond the pump play. Just please catch a pass, Khalif, and we will be happy. McKinnon, Sky Moore, Reynolds, Kelce. Looks like of the big 4 between Kelce, Goff, St. Brown, and Mahomes, Kelce's getting the boot the most, which is sad, but I get it at the price point. It's just hard to fit in everybody you want. And as you can see, we were building our own lineup. I mean, Kelce made it pretty much impossible to get St. Brown even using Khalif Raymond at like pretty much bare minimum price. So you obviously have to play around with it. And if you do want access to this to build your own lineups and things like that, I mean, link down below in the description with the pinned comment for that. Do not have yet ownership up, but obviously I think we can all expect Mahomes to be the highest owned and captain spot. Again, probably going to be 20+% on there. But with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy, or even if you didn't, consider leaving a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. I wish you all the best of luck, and I will see you all next time.